as I was thinking, it dawned on me that sometime as we communicate with people, as we begin to talk amongst the people, what happens is we begin to talk past each other. Because I don't want to talk past you. I want to conversate with you. I want to have a conversation that's going to enlighten and enhance. I want to introduce something, and I'm not even sure if it's a word, but it came to my mind, and it was just realism. You have communism, you have socialism, and I thought about realism. We have conservatism, we have liberalism. There's so many isms and schisms in life, and we just want to have a little conversation about what I call realism. And that's really just the idea of everybody has their own perception, and your perception belongs to you. My perception belongs to me, and that's something that's really important. And I just was thinking about it, because what happens in realism, it's not my perception, and it's not your perception. It's just what is. It's the reality without objectivity, and it's the reality without my opinion and your opinion. Because our opinions are unique to us. They mean something to us, but in most cases, the opinion only means something to the person. Because perception, your perception only means something to you. My perception only means something to me. You know, our opinions are just that. They're ours. They belong to us. We own them. That's why they're opinion. We own them. But in realism, we try to deal with what is exactly as it is. Not with my opinion attached to it, and not with your opinion attached to it, but just to see what it is. An example, I was talking about how, you have a friend, and then they meet someone, and they have a friend, and they begin to talk, and they come back and say, man, do you know what he said? Well, in his opinion, he thinks that I am X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, I think that you are X, Y, and Z. And what happens is I'm caught in the middle, because these are two friends of mine. And the ideal is, with realism, is to step away from my friendship with D. Ellis, and to step away from my friendship with Charlie, and deal with what happened in the middle, that thing that really is, without adding opinions, without adding our perceptions, just the way it is. We can't see life just the way it is. We have to see life through our own lens, with our own perception. And so with realism, I'm looking at more of, okay, he backed into the other driver. Driver A backs into driver B. Well, driver A might say, I checked my mirrors. I looked behind me to see what was going on, and I began to back out, and out of nowhere, driver B comes along, and I back into him. And driver B may say, I was coming along, and I saw them see me, and so I'm moving forward because I have the right of way, and they, out of nowhere, driver A just backs into me. And in reality, someone else is standing watching and says, wow, he just hit that car. That's realism. The idea of he just hit the car, without the idea of somebody saying, well, this is what I was doing and this is what I was thinking when it happened. And so that's one of the things that I like to base the communications that I have with people on realism, so that I'm not caught in between and I'm not taking sides. Because really, there's always three sides to a story of two people. There's your side and my side, and then there's what happened. And you can only go on your side by what you see, and I can only go on my side by what I see. But what happened is what happened. And so the concept of realism is to take out the emotion, take out the narrative, if you will, take out the scenario, and just deal with the situation at hand as it is. That's realism. And when we have our conversations here on the podcast, we want to keep everything from the point of view of realism. Now, I don't know if that's an actual word, but that's the thought that comes to my mind. I'm excited about realism because it's kept me out of more situations than not by just dealing with what is. My wife always has a phrase for me. You know, when something goes wrong, she comes to me, and after we've assessed the damage or the situation, she always says this to me: moving forward, what are we going to do? Or moving forward, let's try this. And it's exciting because now I get to deal with, okay, the situation has happened. I can't change it. What can I do to make it better? And the only thing I can do, the only way I can make that happen is through realism, not through my opinion and not through my perception. And that's a really important thing to me. And I'm trying to deal with things that way. I once heard a great gentleman say this. He said, never be lazy in language. And when I heard him say that, it didn't really click to me, but I understood a principle and a concept. And that principle is what helps me to deal in communication with realism, because I have to find the correct words to express the correct feeling, to share the correct information, to state the correct facts of what's going on. And that's what's so exciting about realism. God bless. I'm out.